Well, this is Aoife, this is my eldest, and then this is Ciara Jane. Ciara Jane, isn't that right? Yeah, Ciara Jane is a little bit upset. Ciara Jane just wants to be playing upstairs. They mean the world to me. I couldn't picture life without them now. I couldn't picture Ciara Jane not being Down syndrome. I don't know what it's like to bring a healthy baby home from the hospital. She's 4 now, and I wasn't able to go back to Temple Street. It was just too many sad and horrific memories of me being by myself and crying. Everything was crying. Myself and Jared, the minute we met, we knew we wanted to have kids. And we had had miscarriages. We had been waiting, and nothing was happening. And then when we got pregnant with Aoife, it was a case of, this is an absolute miracle. She had to be born by cesarean. They had detected in one of her anatomy scans that there was something wrong with her heart. So next thing I know, here come 2 ambulance guys with her inside in the incubator, and they brought her up, and I just started bawling. The night that Aoife had her open heart surgery, my husband was in a hotel room, and he got up in the middle of the night and he was just feeling awful. He said, I got up out of bed and I ran for the toilet. But he says, I remember no more, he said, because I passed out. That was the start of the madness then. She was moved out of intensive care after a week, and we made it home, I think it was for the first week of Christmas. Jared was still having his episodes and they were getting worse. I had told him that we were pregnant with Ciara Jane, and we discussed her name. We knew what we were going to call her. We wanted to keep it Irish. I heard the door of the sitting room fling open. I just literally got up out of bed and ran to the kitchen. And he was bent over the kitchen sink like that, and just bent over. His legs were bent underneath him, and he said, that's a bad one. Next thing I know, he just said, I'm so sorry, and into my arms, onto the ground. I caught him before he fell, and his heart just exploded in his chest. He was gone. We were childhood sweethearts, and all the time I was pregnant on Ciara Jane, and all I could think of was, he's never going to meet her. Do you know? The day that she was born, she was as cute as a button. But when they put her into my arms, and it was just horrific. He should have been there. Do you know? Sorry. They had her wrapped up and they lay her down, and then they said, we think it's Down syndrome. And I just started roaring. But the only reason I cried so much was I didn't know how long I was going to have her for. I didn't know how long Down syndrome children lived. And I thought, George is coming to take her. They said, no, she has a bowel blockage. She has to go to Temple Street. She was just sick. She was so sick. And they said she gave us an awful fright. She was nearly gone. I was allowed to hold her. I'd hold on to her until the last minute, until they had to come over and say, well, you need to put her back in. It's just heartbreaking. And that went on for, nearly 7 weeks. But it was the nurses that got me through it. They just looked after us. They really looked after us. They are extraordinary. They're like, I always say it, they're like angels on earth. Do you know? I hadn't been able to go back there in 4 years, and this year I bit the bullet and I said, I have to go and visit them. It was like, I don't know, it was like coming home, because that was our home for so many weeks. Walking down the long end, they call it, and looking in, I just want to go in and hug the mums inside there and say, you're here, you've made it this far, you'll be fine. And then you suddenly become aware, God, somebody has fundraised for this, somebody has donated for this. No matter how small the donation, it adds up. And it means so much to parents like me, knowing the facility is there. Ciara Jane was in Temple Street, only for the fundraising to get these vital equipment. There might have been no hope. I could be without them now. Those 2 girls, they're the life of me. They really are. Hi.